host, Coach Monica. I'm joined today by Coach Darcy, and we are here to guide you through the ins and outs of a lifestyle that's transformed not just our lives, but the lives of countless women navigating the waves of perimenopause and menopause. Whether you're here to shed weight, understand your body better, or simply find a community that gets it, you're in the right place. So sit back and enjoy the next few minutes as we tackle the hot issues of today. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, Coach?
I'm doing great.
I'm doing great too.
Yeah, it's a good day.
It is a really good day. It's a good day.
Yeah.
It's sunny. Is it sunny down south where you are?
Kinda. It's cloudy, but it's warm. I was surprised to walk out the door and it was 64 degrees out, but it was still like, it was like as if it rained, but I don't think it rained. So
boy, it stormed
felt that
here
way.
the other night. I don't know where it came from, but thunderstorms in the middle of the night, and I slept through it. I didn't see any of it happen. I think I heard it, but I don't know. But it was pretty bad here.
Yeah.
So
Wait,
yeah.
you see what I did
Did
yesterday?
you vote?
Wait,
I love it.
hold on.
I love it. I see it.
There.
I love it. I voted.
I did not wear this hat just because of controversial. Even though it shouldn't be
it's a
controversial.
law. It's a law. I mean,
is.
I work at the polls on Tuesday, and oh my gosh, it's 7 days from today. I work at the polls, and I took my training yesterday. I am a sheriff. I don't know. I think that's kind of fitting. I'm a sheriff, and that's my job. Actually, that is my job. Is I have to make sure there's no electioneering in the chute.
Okay.
It can be outside the chute, but inside the chute, you're not allowed to wear that stuff. So
good to know. I mean, I had my shirt on, and luckily I had like a shirt, and I'm like, before I went in, I buttoned it up.
I know.
But I'm like, this is something making America healthy. Like, it should not be controversial.
It should be like
controversial.
It shouldn't be just one side or the other. It should be general.
No, everybody should want health.
So tell us about your experience. What was going down in Anderson at the polls? Like, was it energized? Was it? What was it?
Well, when I first showed up, it was like a funeral. Everybody was
Are you
quiet.
kidding me? Oh,
there wasn't anybody outside. Even like, there's no signs yet. There's no it just says voting. And then when I went in, there was a very, very long line. I was like, so this noon idea was not a great idea. It wasn't going to be go in and out, which I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But as I was standing there, there's people that were, if anybody shows up to a voting poll and we're like, or is irritated that they had to stand in line for that long. First of all, think about what it's going to be on election day.
Holy cow, guys.
I remember doing that 4 years ago in field, and it was cold and freezing.
Yeah. But there's your sign to go vote early right there.
But this opening to vote early is just in seeing a line. I waited for an hour and a half.
Yeah. It's historic.
It's like, I was proud of those people. I don't care who they were voting for. The fact that they took time on their lunch breaks or even and they were elderly and some people couldn't walk, and they were like, hey, have a seat in this and just keep an eye on us. And it was kindness.
Yes.
Like, truly, we can be kind.
Yes. I leave there with tears.
Aww.
And I just think of Grampy. I think of what he fought for and the freedoms that we get to do this.
Yeah.
And here's another thing. I didn't realize how soon ago, how women didn't have the right to vote just a few years ago. I didn't realize how close to our year, how
your year. Yes.
Yeah. I didn't realize that we did not have the right to vote. And I just leave there with my head held high. I'm so proud of my kids. Our middle son, like a man, he just went. I didn't tell him to go vote. He just did it. And he knows me. Number one, if you live in my household, if I have raised you as my flesh and blood, you are early to church and you vote. Those are my only two requirements of you. Right. And so he knew how his mama was. And he joked with me on who he voted for. And he knew that would get to my goat. And then he said, Mom, I'm kidding. He put his I voted sign up. But I'm like, he's a man. So did you take
Aw.
your boys with you?
No, they were at
Okay.
school.
Next year, take them. Take
Look,
them.
not next year. They'll be in school.
No, I pulled them out. No, I'm not even joking with you about
Well,
that.
they're
I
not.
pulled them out of school every time I went to vote. It was the best decision I ever made
No.
because I taught them and I built in them a deep respect for our country. And I didn't care what the school said. I walked into the school. I said, I'm pulling my kids out for 2 hours. We went to vote. They went up to the machine with me. They were little.
Uh-huh.
Funny story. When I did that one time, and then we're going to get to dopamine, but
I was gonna
you know Sarah. You know, God bless Sarah.
God bless Sarah.
She's a little like her mama and
Plus
a little
some.
bit extra. And when we got up to the polling stations, it's quiet in there. It's like this religious experience,
Yes.
when you're voting. And it was very, very quiet. And so I was, whispering to her, this is what we're doing. This is how you press the buttons. And I would let her press the button, double check to make sure she pressed the right
No.
one. But she got mad and she's like, Mom, where is Sarah Palin? The entire quiet office just busted out laughing. She was 5.
That's cute.
It was so cute. Yeah.
And
I
she hasn't
encourage you
changed.
to be daring and teach your boys, pull them
Yeah.
out of school. It's worth it. They will learn more on that trip with you than they will learn sitting at a school
We
desk
still
for a few
teach them.
months.
I just
Oh, let them
listen.
do it. Let them do it.
I've
Let
been
'em do it.
taking ever since this orthodontist thing and all these doctor's appointments.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure I'm going to have people coming after me about why do you keep taking your kids out of school?
Oh, I don't care. Come at me.
I mean, it is. I
Micah will
listen.
protect you.
You'll love this. I was, we were scrolling the TV one night, and Silas was picking a show, and he's like, "Hey, Mom, your favorite show's on." I was like, "My favorite show's on." He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "What show is that?" Because I don't really have a show.
Uh-huh.
What's happening here?
Well, I left it on because I have an alarm that goes off every day at 11:05. This is a challenge from the pastors across the nation that said, please set your timers for 11:05 and pray for both Kamala Harris and for Donald Trump that they find Jesus. So,
do they not know we have Coach's Corner right now?
I don't care. I'm praying for my country that God will protect us, that he will protect the ballots, and that he will protect all of our candidates and that they will find Jesus. Both sides need Jesus. And so that's what I'm praying for. And I will pray live on our Facebook.
Amen.
In Jesus' name, protection over the ballots, protection over this country, protection over our families, over our kids' minds, and that we have victory. That's all we can do. So 11:05. I didn't know it would go off at this time, but here we go. So yeah,
Yes.
set your timers, folks. 11:05, and the 11:05 being November 5th. At
That makes sense. I was having an ADD moment. I couldn't get past the sound.
I know 11:05. But yeah, guys, it is serious. We are dealing with a lot this election. So did you see yesterday
wait a minute.
the ballot boxes were caught on fire?
Yes, I did. But let me finish my story real quick. All Silas was saying was, Mom, your favorite show's on. I said, what's that? He's like, it's the debates. Because I've been watching it, like all the debates.
The debates.
And I'm like, that's not even my favorite. So anyway, but I did see that news about the ballot boxes. What are they going to do about that? What can they do?
Well, that's why 11:05. I mean, that's all we can do is pray for protection, because I really believe that God's hand is a part of all of this, and whatever I have a peace about whatever happens this election. And so that's 11:05. We 11:05 it. That's what we do for the burning ballot boxes, right?
Yes.
So thank you, Pastor Phil, for that reminder and for that challenge to us this weekend. It was a pastor in Texas who started that wave across the nation. So it happened in the middle of a client yesterday, and I just quietly was taking notes and I wrote my prayer down, and I think God can read the prayers too. So whatever's happening at 11:05. So let's talk about something fun today. Dopamine. thanks for giving
Yeah.
us this challenge. You were the one that tagged me in that this morning and in our Slack staff room.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really, really important topic because my gosh, we have a mental health crisis. We have an
We really
obesity
do.
crisis. We have all of these crises.
Yeah.
Um, and I think this is a big part of it. And thank you, Vera. You had brought up Food
Mhm.
Junkies this morning. Best book. Oh, do you have it right
Yeah.
there? Hold it up.
Yeah.
Hold it up. This book
So
will change your
oh,
life.
here we go. Look, and
Vera,
I unmirrored my thing so you can read it.
that's awesome.
That's why.
What is mirroring for, by the way? What is that? Why
To
do
look
people
at the
mirror?
well, it's like I don't know.
I don't know either because
Just because
back
like,
there, my on air.
this is my left side, but you're reading it as my right. So, it's
Okay.
like as if you were
I don't
there.
understand why
I don't know.
the audience because they wouldn't be able to read my on air sign if I had
Right.
my screen mirrored.
Well,
Some technical person in here just drop us why we have to mirror our cameras.
well, can I explain what I'm doing and then and
Yeah.
why this idea came about?
Yes.
Because lately it's Coach Monica has been doing this world of addictions, and I'm following her because the more and more that we coach, the more and more we see how addiction becomes very prevalent in a lot of people. Like one in three
Mhm.
people, you say one in three
Mhm.
people have an addiction to ultra processed food. And is it in general just an addiction in general?
Mhm. Oh
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
So in knowing that, like I'm learning a lot. I'm learning a lot about our bodies, but in the same breath, now we're diving deeper into the addictions world, and it's not
Mhm.
just addiction of ultra processed food and all in food addiction, but it is just the addictions in general
Mhm.
that we create for ourselves in our everyday that cause us problems, and
Mhm.
they become roadblocks, and then we ask ourselves like, well, why? I never considered myself even an emotional eater when I
Mhm.
first started this program, but then I noticed the habits that I had over the years of being keto. I was like, you know what? Not only do I have an emotional eating issue, and it may not be so much emotional eating issue now, it may be more of a food addiction for that dopamine rush.
Mhm.
Or just knowing, and I was just talking about this in group last night, how when I used to create the keto sweets and treats, I would create them, they were delicious, and then I would know they're in the fridge.
Mhm.
I knew that they
Yep.
were there, and I knew, and another client can relate to this, where she said, "I know that it's gonna go bad, so I've gotta eat it." So I'm telling
Mhm.
myself, "I better eat this before it goes bad," instead of sticking it in the freezer where it will last longer.
Mhm.
Sometimes even sharing with Mark. Mark has this annoying way of eating food where he waits. Like if he doesn't want it, he's not going to eat it, and he'll wait for days, and I
Mhm.
know it's in there
Yeah.
and it's going bad. And then he gets mad or upset when when he sees that these things are gone
Mhm.
because of me. I knew it was there. So to me, that was a symptom of a food addiction. So
Mhm.
I had to take action upon that, and I did, and I feel freer from that. I
Mhm.
feel free from the food noise that is just yapping at me. Now
Mhm.
there are times where yeah, I would still like to have a keto sweet or treat, but I'm not going to make it purposefully
Mhm.
for
Right.
anything.
Right.
But as this happens, as I'm learning this, and I'm following Monica on how she is coaching her clients and watching her step by step. I'm also reading these books that she's suggested, and I'm also following pages that she's suggested. And one of them is Vera Tarman's page,
Mhm.
and I'm starting to read her Food Junkies book now. Between that and all of these other books that I have accumulated over the years,
Mhm.
they all have this one thing in common, and they do talk about the dopamine that we
Mhm.
create and that we abuse.
Yeah.
And so that was what my chapter was about today. That kind of was like, yeah, isn't that
Mhm.
interesting how dopamine is a good thing and we want dopamine, but
Mhm.
then I paired it with convenience and
Mhm.
how we make everything so convenient that
Yeah.
we can overdo things.
Yeah.
Like, we overeat the sweet treats that are in the fridge because we think about, "Oh, well, we don't want them to go bad, so we gotta eat it." Even though they're
Mhm.
keto and they're healthy,
Yeah,
we're
that's
still
Red
gonna
Dog.
eat it. That's Red
Yeah.
Dog.
Yeah.
So with that, that's kind of where I just became, I had these highlighting words in the summary in my head, and then we'll talk about the rest of
Mhm.
that here. But that's where we are.
Yeah.
That's where I
Yeah, that
am.
is so true. The Red Dog loves dopamine.
Oh yeah.
He loves dopamine. He loves to use that. I'm reading the book Dopamine Nation right now by Anna Lemke.
Wait a
And
minute. You did
sorry,
not tell me about this one.
sorry. But they talk about inside this book, they talk about the dopamine economy. And that is our world that we live in right now. We are faced with it. I mean, we look at our cell phones and just the dopamine that the cell phone screen causes in our brain. Um, we create this thing called like you had said, dopamine sensitivity.
Mhm.
And I'm just going to read the definition of dopamine in just a little bit of a paragraph here because they say it much better than I could. But dopamine is a neurotransmitter, a chemical messenger in the brain that plays a key role in how we feel pleasure and reward. It's involved in regulating mood, motivation, and movement. So think about this when it comes to weight loss and your weight loss journey, okay? And how if you are dopamine, if your dopamine is numbed, and if you are short of it, how this could impact your weight loss experience, right? When we consume sugar, and this is how dopamine is connected to sugar. When we consume sugar or highly processed foods, especially in high amounts or in highly processed forms like candies, sodas, it triggers a release of dopamine in the brain. So you put sugar to your tongue, it stimulates the release of dopamine in the brain. That's why you feel that really excited, energetic, sudden burst, right? After
Yeah.
you have a Snickers bar. This release creates feelings of pleasure and reinforces the desire to consume more sugar. So there's where the addict brain kicks in. If you are a sugar slash carb slash ultra processed food addict, that is one of the signs. You need more in order to continue to get that hit, that buzz, right? And that's one of the things we do when we diagnose if you're a sugar addict or if you're an emotional eater. So it reinforces the desire to consume more sugar. Over time, frequent consumption of sugar can lead to the desensitization of dopamine receptors. This is why you need more to get that same pleasure experience. This means that the brain requires more sugar to achieve the same level of pleasure, similar to how drug addicts do it. By eliminating sugar, and this is where we instill in our clients, by eliminating sugar intake, the dopamine pathways in the brain can become more sensitive again. That is awesome. That is
Mhm.
huge. That there is hope that you can get sensitivity back into your body. This sensitivity allows for more of a natural response to pleasure from everyday activities and healthy foods. Essentially, cutting back on sugar helps wake up the dopamine pathways, making them more responsive to normal levels of stimulation and reduce the cravings for excessive sugar intake. This is why when our clients are about 3 months in, that's too long. Probably it starts to happen right after their detox period. They're
Yeah.
like, "Oh my gosh, I feel joy again." That's when I lost my depression. I lost my
Mhm.
anxiety. That was all with the dopamine. That was and serotonin. Did you know serotonin's made in your gut?
Mm.
And when we
Yeah.
destroy our gut, the serotonin, which is the peaceful hormone, is destroyed. So, this contributes to overall mood regulation, motivation, and a healthier relationship with food. So, this is when our clients are like, "Oh my gosh, I can do this. I believe I can," and they get this surge of an "I can do it" spirit, and they're happy. They're absolutely happy. Did
Right.
that happen to you, Darcy, when you went through your weight loss journey? I talk about mine, and sitting on that checkered, ugly couch we have.
Mhm.
Did anything like that happen to you? And it may have happened later. Did you experience any sort of like, "Oh my gosh, I see sun," or Anything like that? That you recall?
It's actually when I relate this moment when I was running down my driveway.
Oh, yeah. I remember that story.
When I'm running down my driveway, because I had this urge of, like, energy and,
Uh-huh.
like, "Oh, look what I can do," but my butt
Right.
was not slapping the back of my head like normal because
Yeah.
that's where I carry most of my weight and my voluptuousness is in that area, and I was running,
That's so
and
funny.
it was not doing that, and I was
Mhm.
like, that just brought this joy,
Mhm.
this, happiness of, like, I could probably like running. I still kinda don't, but I could
Yeah.
probably enjoy it and be happy with life, and it was that was, like, the one moment that I can remember, but I'm sure there was other ones.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty joyful person in general,
Yeah.
but that one just, like, was a butt kicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. Connecting that straight to sugar.
Yeah.
And when we
Yeah.
say sugar, we mean carbs, carbohydrates, because they have the same impact to your body as sugar, ultra processed food, and seed oils. When you consume this, it literally it'll give you that quick dopamine rush, but because of dopamine sensitivity, every time you do that, it's going to get less and less and less
Yeah.
until that dopamine is broken.
Yeah.
That's why Dr. Chris Palmer is one of my new heroes in the movement. I have a lot of heroes. Beer is one of them. Dr. Barry, I
Yeah.
love those guys. I love what they bring. Dr. Robert Lustig, I love
Yeah.
what they bring to the table. But this new guy, he's not new. He's been on the scene for a
Yeah,
long
he's been
time.
there.
But he's new to me because the whole mental health aspect of what we put in our bodies, and
Yeah.
um, he is watching schizophrenia be reversed.
That is amazing.
He's watching mental health be reversed just by simply putting people on the ketogenic diet.
Yeah.
It's just so fascinating, and it has to do and his book Brain Energy Behind Me
Mm.
is a really intense book. If you're a nerd, you'll love it. If you are overwhelmed, you'll hate it. I kind of hate it because I'm like I got to break things down really slowly.
Yes, I have to draw a picture of the brain in
Yeah.
order to find. That's where I was, when I was doing the cognitive,
Yeah.
neuropath, all that stuff, like, that is like, I had to draw up
Yeah.
the brain so I could visualize it,
I
but
get
that
it.
was
It just
like,
takes me longer,
well,
but
yeah, it's not our expertise.
no, no,
We
and
just
it's
love how it
overwhelming.
works.
It's
Yeah.
overwhelming. Yeah, I
You
love
know what's
making it
funny?
simple.
How we love when we do a lifestyle change, when we
Mhm.
try to, and we're focused in on situational things,
Mhm.
events, and we're like, I just don't have the willpower to do that. But
Mhm.
we keep blaming the willpower. We keep blaming this guy named Will
Yeah.
for what is probably more so addiction
Yeah.
control than
Exactly.
the fact that it's not. We aren't born with knowing how to have willpower.
Right.
We don't know how to. Like, so
Yeah.
how, if we don't know how are we ever going to use willpower?
Right.
But
Yeah.
we let our food, and it goes along with, all of the addictions out there. It's not
Mhm.
just food addiction. These all coincide with each other.
Mhm.
And when you think about the addiction that you carry, it's whether it be hidden,
Mhm.
whether it be visual, because visual meanings more so food addiction, because you can see the
Mhm.
food addiction on the outside.
Yeah.
They can cause problems for not just your own health, but for your life and the people
Yeah.
around you.
Yeah.
And we are blaming um, things that don't even relate to
Yeah.
the problem. Like,
Yeah.
they're blaming, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
We were
Good.
talking last night in our weight loss support group. I can't remember. It might have been in the food addictions group, but we were talking about. By the way, we are opening that up to the public this November 1st.
That
We are
is big
opening up
news.
that support group of food addictions, overeaters support group to the public. You don't have to be a client of ours. It's going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
If you are interested in that, please drop a smiley face in the comments because that will be a big thing. But in that group, we were talking about as coaches, the most frustrating treatment for food addiction is those without a weight problem
Yeah.
because those without a weight problem have the same struggles as those with a weight problem. We talk about being skinny fat,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Those people struggle more than those people with a weight loss, an obesity problem.
Mhm.
And those who discover their food addiction after they've lost the weight, like myself and like you, struggle because we have not fixed those hormones. We have not fixed the addiction, and there's nothing to fight for.
Right.
Our clients that come to us as, with obesity, they have something to fight for. It's the scale. And
Yeah.
so that is their measure of success, and they can ignore food addiction, as I did. I ignored the fact that I had to take Lily's chocolate chips with me to every event that I went to, and that chocolate, I don't even like chocolate, but I took it because I had to have it with me. I had to have the drug with me. That converted over to wine.
Mm.
And that converted over, as Bitten Johnson told me. I was so angry with her. She's another hero of mine. She said, Monica, you're an alcoholic. I'm like, no, I'm not. I dropped out of her program. For 6 months, I dropped out of her program because I was mad at her for telling me I was an alcoholic. Well, I was.
Yeah.
Or really close to it. So it's really, really difficult to work with food addicts who don't have that scale, keeping them in alignment.
Yeah. Also, to add on to that, not only the skinny people,
Mm-hmm.
but also the generations that are younger than me that we talk about. The
Yes.
young mamas out there.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're in your 20s, you don't want to hear about this because you don't see that
No,
you have a problem.
you're
But
invincible.
if I could see into the future and the way that your habits are now, more than likely I can tell you you're going to end up this way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're going to end up struggling. You are going to end up possibly having PCOS down the
Yeah.
line. You may, we can foresee that because I was in that boat, and I wish I
Mm-hmm.
would have had somebody back in the day to
Yeah.
tell me this is the best way to eat. And I would
Right.
have followed that. Instead, I'm following all these vegans and vegetarians and, all these
Mm-hmm.
people that are saying the modern, new trend on what food choice to eat now because this brings energy, this brings blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
If I could have just had somebody tell me,
Yeah.
listen, those things are okay for your young body,
Yeah.
but eventually it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
And eventually it's going to begin to trigger your
Mm-hmm.
brain to then cave into all the other nasty foods out there
Yeah.
that will then cause you to be over 250 or
Right.
20 pounds. That's where. And then thinking that if you are going to have kids, if you're thinking about this and you're thinking that and here's something I've never told you, Monica. I believe that I used having kids um as a way to think that that was going to be
Mm-hmm.
a diet change for me, where
Yes.
I
Yes.
was going to get smaller because I
Uh-huh.
had kids.
Right.
Because of all the things that our bodies do during pregnancy,
Mm-hmm.
and all those other young moms out there saying, oh, all I did was breastfeed and I lost all this weight
Uh-huh.
and I got all skinny. And I did that, ladies, and I gained.
Uh-huh.
I was overweight, and I was depressed, and I had mental issues,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought that having babies was going to be my outlet, and that
Yep.
made it worse. It
Yeah.
did not get better. Other
Yeah.
than having a cute baby, that's one thing, but that was more pressures of having and raising a child.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so true. Yeah. I love your message to the young moms. And I love what you said about, if I can see what you're eating now, I can predict what you'll look like when you come to Monica. You
Yeah,
didn't say that,
no, I didn't.
but it cracks me up because, and you do an amazing job with our menopause ladies. You do an
I do. I
absolutely
love them too.
fabulous.
I have
But
lots of favorites.
yes, you do, and I, got some young moms, and so we don't just take that, but
No.
you're living in that era with these young moms.
Yeah.
You're living it. You can tell me what the color is. You can tell me what the feel is of being a young mom, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I, I can't, because I can tell you what happened when I was there, and I can say, yep, what she's saying is right on. But when you get to my age and you start to feel what perimenopause does to your body, and I can speak to those women. I can tell them exactly what a hot flash feels like,
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's something that, when you say, I can tell you as a mom, with what you're eating now, what you're going to look like, what you're going to feel like when you get to Monica's
Yeah.
group. That's
And
really
it's gonna
scary.
the
That's
thing
powerful.
is we also chop off decades of our
Oh, yeah.
life, the way that we're doing this.
Yeah.
I've chopped off a lot of years, and hopefully I'm gaining it back by
I
my new
lost my
lifestyle.
years. I lost them.
But I'm talking like your
Mhm.
actual physical years.
End of days.
End
Yes.
of days, like
Yes.
your death. Like
Yes.
you're chopping the time here on this earth
Yeah.
shorter and shorter and shorter with the choices that you make. And that
Yeah.
goes for everybody. Like
As
everybody's
well
doing that.
as well as you lose time with your kids.
Yeah.
I lost time with my kids. I regret that with everything in me, and I've got all the spiritual people in my life saying, "Oh, Monica, God redeems the time." I
Yes.
know he does.
Yeah.
But I missed that time with my kids.
Mhm.
I couldn't until I was going down the curlicue slide in Fort Wayne, Indiana with Enzo, my nephew. And I thought to myself, this is the first time I've gone down a curly slide. And I chased him around the playground, and I thought, I couldn't do this with Sarah. I couldn't do this with my kids. Yeah,
Right.
heck of a lot of regret I have. So mamas, we can.
Yeah.
Show us your plate, we'll show you your future. That's a tweet right there.
Ooh.
Darcy, remember that time? Remember that time we were doing a live and we had a whole
That was a
program?
podcast. Wait, say that again. Let me write
Show
that
me your
down.
plate, I'll show you your future. Whoo, that'll preach.
I'm
It's so
writing it
true,
down.
though. It is so true. And so many mamas do not care. They would rather take the shortcut. They would rather take and my age of mamas are like, please, sister, don't do that. If I had it to do over. And I've got some women in my program who are like, okay, so I'm gonna die early. Why change now?
Yeah.
That's the attitude I'm
I'm
dealing with
enjoying
on this side.
I'm enjoying food, and I'm
Yeah.
enjoying
Let
all
me
these
enjoy.
things.
Yeah.
Like why give up all this stuff?
Right. Yeah. It's so funny.
What would be
When
the purpose?
right. Yeah.
And you know what? This brings up another point. Like we talk about selfishness. Oh, I don't want to feel selfish. I don't want to but
Mhm.
in a way, you are being
You are.
selfish for not fixing yourself.
Exactly. Because
For
who's gonna be
following
living
those
without
trends.
you? Who doesn't get their grandma? Who
Yeah.
doesn't get their cool grandma? I always wanted a cool grandma who could be out on the swing set with me, who could be out there, you know.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the grandma that can't do that. I don't want to be the grandma that it's so funny as we talk about this, our viewer numbers are dropping. I think people are
Oh
getting
no.
mad. They're getting mad. I don't care. If it saves one woman's life, if you can save one mama's life who
Yeah.
would end up like your sister,
Yeah.
it's okay. I don't even care, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
But
back to dopamine.
dopamine, dopamine.
We kind of trailed off like
We don't
we
do
do
that.
that.
We
No.
don't do that
Never.
ever.
Never.
No. If you want a professional, if you want a professional outlined,
We've done that.
show, you
We
have to tune into us Tuesday mornings at 6 a.m. when we
but
release our
listen,
podcast.
but we did that
Mhm. They're very professional.
once upon a time. And now they're a little bit more of like
No, I put a disclaimer on there. I do, sister. I put a
okay.
disclaimer of this is us bantering, and then there's a disclaimer on there.
Yes.
But yeah,
Okay.
if you want banter, you come to you watch our lives, and apparently they don't want that.
They
So
don't
let's go
apparently.
back
So
to
back to dopamine.
dopamine. Oh.
So where were we? We were
Numbing.
talking
Let's talk about how
numbing. Oh,
dopamine is numbed
and
by
how we
sugar.
get there. How we
Yeah,
get there,
yeah.
right?
Go
Okay.
for it.
Okay. So let's say we're living our life and you know how the sugar, we just
Mhm.
talked about how the sugar like it wakes up the brain. It gives us some
Mhm.
happiness for a short period of time,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
And listen, this also goes with the fruits that we eat too, because of the fructose in that fruit is also going to trigger
Mhm.
that dopamine. It is sweet. It
Mhm.
is delightful. And that is where I think in the United States, we are being told to eat our fruits and vegetables,
Mhm.
but they don't necessarily say you shouldn't eat this much of fruit.
Right. Right.
You should cut it off here. And
Mhm.
we don't. Like
Right.
that's period. But then when we get into an emotional state, even we
Mhm.
start to have stress in our life. We start to, depend upon sadness
Mhm.
and sorrow and depression and the mental illnesses that we talk about. And we go
Mhm.
and we're searching for something that will make us happy. Now, this
Mhm.
is where the addiction of whatever sort suits you comes into play, because that is why we seek out that addiction. That's why we seek out that medication, that short-term, short-lived medication,
the dopamine
that
hit.
that dopamine hit. But there's a problem with that, because there's going to get to a point where you are not going to be satisfied with just one hit, with just one bite, with just one moment. You're going to do that, and then that dopamine is going to crash, and then you're going to search out again for the next
takes more.
hit.
It takes more next time.
It takes more. And so that is where some people end up, way overweight and can't stop. There's the thing in this book that she talks about, how is addiction a disease or a choice or both? That chapter itself shows you how it starts as a choice.
Starts as a choice, yeah.
And you can choose to get that dopamine hit. But then it becomes more where that choice becomes more controlling and starts to control you more. And to the point where it becomes a chronic disease, where now that disease is controlling you. It
controls you, right.
And you can't stop.
Right.
And that goes with any alcoholism, pornography. It goes with
all of it.
Food choices. It goes with gambling. All of those to get a hit
now
of this thrill.
Here's the caveat to eating, because dopamine is created in the nerves, but it's also created in the gut.
Yeah.
So when you feed your microbiome in your gut, when you feed your gut the sugar that causes the dopamine, sensitivity, meaning you can't make it anymore, then it's the circle. So you need more sugar. Well, sugar's killing your dopamine. It's becoming, it's forming you into an addict.
Yeah.
It's a vicious circle. But I love what this book said, that dopamine can be healed.
Yeah.
That's by removing the sugar, carbs, ultra processed foods. I hate having to say all three of those words. I would love to say sugar, but sugar means carbohydrates. It means ultra processed food, and it means seed oils.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a circle.
And like we keep talking about the gut, because that is considered our second brain. And if the dopamine is hitting and the serotonin is hitting in our brains, all that stuff, it goes back and forth and it feeds off of each other. It's a cycle. And when one is unhealthy, so is the other.
Yeah.
If your gut is unhealthy, so is your brain. If your brain's unhealthy, so is your gut. So it goes, thinking about all that.
And that's why you get so frustrated on a diet.
Yeah.
That's when you get so frustrated when these fake products out there are promising all of these things, and it's not healing the dopamine, the serotonin, the oxytocin. It's not healing all of those things. It's actually harming it. You're putting all of this crap in your body. You're actually reversing. Now, you're losing weight in these diets because you're starving yourself.
Yes.
But that's why the weight comes back so quickly. So it's our passion and our practice that we heal it from the gut out, right?
Yes, right.
We heal it from the gut out, because then you don't have to come back to us. The only way you come back to our practice is if you want to coach for us. That's what our goal is. That's not a great business market plan.
It's not.
Our business coaches might have an issue with that, but that's where we are.
We're so focused on helping people empower themselves to be able to take control of their health, their metabolic health, so that they don't need to have replacements or like the whole potion. If you make this potion, if you make this drink, you're going to get yourself more serotonin, and you're getting, all these things. Listen, your body can create it if you just balance it.
Yeah, right.
If you give it what it needs and what it should have.
The food is the pharmacy.
It is.
The latest one I saw is Skinny Drops. Come on.
Oh, yay.
Come on, people. Yeah. Man. Dopamine is a good thing.
Yeah.
Dopamine is killed by the food that you're eating, or it's healed by the food that you're eating. And so that's the really cool thing. And if you want to do a geek out study, Darcy, hold up your book again. Incredible book by Dr. Vera Wang.
No, it's not.
Dr.
Tarman.
Who's Vera Wang?
She's close. clothing.
She makes purses. Sorry, Vera. I love you. She makes purses. Isn't that who makes purses, Vera Wang?
Yeah, she makes
Yes.
she's got clothes.
Well, maybe Vera does too. Dr.
She
Charmin.
might. This
Dr.
is right
Charmin.
here.
Oh my goodness. See, when she interviews me, she can edit. I can't edit this. I'm
No.
so sorry.
Vera Wang.
I'm so sorry. I think
She is
she's hiding right now because it's political season in the States,
Oh.
and she thinks that she lives in Canada and they don't have the circus we have here.
No,
So
it's
she's like hiding behind a wall.
that might be their actually new like favorite program to watch is America's debates.
It might be. I love her. I love her because she loves to listen and to understand why we are the
Yeah.
way we are.
Yeah.
She could write a book about me. But
Oh, yeah.
here's another one: "Dopamine Nation" by Anna Lembrecht, and "The Sugar Brain Fix" by Mike
Ooh.
Dow. And then, of course,
I feel like I'm
Dr.
slacking in a lot of the books that you have.
Chris Palmer, the Brain
Mhm.
Energy book. Those, if
Yeah.
you're a geeking out kind of person and want to understand why you don't feel good, start there. And,
Yeah.
I am one of those, and I think Darcy is too, that gets overwhelmed when we look at books and we're like, oh my gosh, I'll never be this smart. I'll never retain this stuff. Just, get a book. And now, Dr. Tarman's book, I read in 2 days. Like, it was cover to cover. It was an easy read. It was beautiful. It was very emotional for me because that's when I came out and admitted that my food addiction started at a nursing home where I was working at, and I was
Mm.
stealing food from the residents. And she gave me the voice to actually say that out loud. So that was an emotional book, and I read it front to back. These, so it's very sciencey. Just commit to reading 2 pages.
Yeah.
Slow down when you read them. Just commit to reading 2 pages. You don't have to read
I
cover to
do.
cover.
I do a mixture. So this is how I learned this from Mindy Peltz is she said to read in the morning.
Oh, yeah, that's
And
good.
when you read in the morning, that is when your brain is the most like awake and able to retain a lot of information. And don't
Okay.
overwhelm it. But I
Mhm.
do that first thing in the morning. I read what I'm going to read,
Mhm.
and I do retain it. It's amazing. And I am a terrible. School and myself, we were not friends. But I
Mhm.
can go back and say, oh, it's probably because of the brain fog and all the crap that I ate.
Crap. Oh my gosh. Can you
Yeah,
imagine how smart our kids would be if we
I
pulled it out of schools? I saw something on Facebook. It said if you fed your kids bacon and eggs every day, can you imagine what the schools would look like?
Yeah, I was talking to see, here's what I do. I have these conversations with my kids. I'm not forcing it upon them, but I'm just educating. And I just say, what it would be is amazing is that the foods that we're supposed to eat, just imagine how smart our brains would be
Mhm.
because of all that. So I
I
just
would
was
love,
telling him that.
Dr. Chris Palmer is doing that experimental, but it's not an experiment because it's working.
Yeah.
He's opening that mental hospital that only serves the ketogenic diet. It would be really cool to do an experiment with schools.
Oh
Have a
yeah,
school. What would you do if a
absolutely.
school, and you had parents supporting at home as well? That would be really cool to see what
It
would
would.
happen to their test scores, what would happen to their niceness, what would
Mhm.
happen to their behavior. We've got kids now throwing chairs across the room, because they
That's
were not
entitlement.
socialized during COVID. We've had a crisis in the
We
classroom.
do.
Imagine if
We
we
really do.
now, my other side of that says, I remember when Michelle Obama wanted to make the school lunches healthy and she had hummus and the kids were like throwing it and they were mad.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would work because I'm not about forcing anybody to do anything, but I'm like, man, if we, in a perfect world, if we could see a ketogenic school, what would their test scores be like?
Right.
Whew.
Absolutely. But,
Yeah.
I was going to say with all these books, I love to just see how all of these just coincide with each
Oh,
other.
yeah.
And they're different studies.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing with it started here with what is it? I'm thinking of seizures,
Mm-hmm.
epilepsy. Like
Yeah.
this is where it all began, y'all. And then we're seeing, oh, there's probably a reason for that
Mm-hmm.
because it all starts in the brain.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
between all of just that and
Mhm.
I do get really geeked out when I'm reading everybody's and they're connecting like Dr. Lustig and Casey Means, like all of those things are just
Mhm.
connecting together. And I'm like, oh, yes, there's a
Yeah, it
movement.
is. There is a movement. There's no political red or blue on this movement. It
Yeah.
is a movement of people who are like, "Wait a minute.
They actually
Something
did the
is
research.
wrong."
They researched why we believe what we believe in our
Yeah.
food system, and it comes down to at least a couple men that
Yeah.
have a lot of money
A lot
and
of
had this
money.
idea, and it
Yeah.
just sucked.
Why is it that 30 ingredients are banned in other countries and we can have it, and we have the worst crime, we have the worst health, we have all of these things just spiraling out of
Yeah,
control. Maybe we
and
should look at our food system.
it's not getting any better.
It's not. No.
It's getting worse.
And we have the top in the medical field. We have the top of all of these countries, and we're the sickest.
Yeah.
Why is
Hey,
that?
you know what my favorite comment that people make that don't understand or they don't want to, admit that this is the way? My favorite is like, "Well, where's your proof? Where's your documentation?" And I'm thinking for all the people that have gone through this,
Uh-huh.
because where else are they getting these trials that they do
Yeah.
in the science department? They're testing on mice,
Exactly. Yeah, we have the
but
proof.
we have the proof as actual human beings
Mhm.
and millions of people that have gone through carnivore and
Mhm.
keto and are living this lifestyle and are living proof that their numbers are better.
Yeah.
To me, that says that
Yeah.
nixes those mice
Yeah.
research projects
Yeah.
a
I had
hundredfold.
a client this week rip up her diagnosis on type 2 diabetes. She ripped it up in front of me.
Oh,
Her doctor signed off on it. She doesn't have it anymore.
oh my goodness.
She's one that did the things.
Yeah,
I have people that email me and say, I have so much pain in my body. Would your lifestyle work? And I said, absolutely, it will. However, you have to do the things. So many
hmm,
people come to us and they do the things for 2 weeks. They feel better, and then they take one bite of that sugar because they are addicted, and then they go backwards. And I'm like, oh, see, it didn't work. I'm
yeah.
like, yes, it 100% will work if you do the things.
If you do the things,
You got to do the things. You got to do the hard things, and
and
that's not cheating.
that's fixing all of the ailments, or
Yeah.
not fixing the habits that you
Mhm.
built up over the years.
Yeah.
And most people are not willing
Nope.
to fix the habits
Yep.
and take care of them and create new and better ones.
Yep. So true. It is so true. Yeah. Well, we want to encourage you. There's a reason why people that get healthy, when they remove the sugar, the ultra processed food, there's a reason why these people are like floating on a cloud.
Yeah.
There's a reason why, and it's scientific. It's about dopamine. It's about serotonin. It's about all of those amazing hormones that we can feed our body. Darcy, you have an assignment after this. You think you've written it down. I don't know if y'all know this. So Darcy's my sister. A lot of people don't know that. And I was just lamenting to my family. My mom and dad come over every Sunday night, and we talk about all of our family members, and we fix the world's problems. Well, I was lamenting this Saturday. There's Sunday night because I'm like, I'm the only one of my siblings that have no talent. I have no talent. I can't
That's
play the drums.
bogus.
No, no, let me finish. I can't play the drums like my brother. I can't paint like my sister. I can't do ceramics like my other sister. I can't sing like my sister. All I have is the gift of gab. That is all I have. So one of my sister's talents is she was my marketer. And then she wanted to coach. And I'm like, well, then what am I going to do about marketing? Because you're so good. And she's really good on Canva. So she's going to take that gift, talent, and ability and like explode the internet with say that again. Say it again.
Show me your plate, I'll show you your future.
That is so good. It's so good. I love it.
We need to talk more often. I feel like we have
We
more
do.
ideas that we
Because I
can
literally think you and I put that together. Like
just
I
right then and there
we just did it.
at that moment.
Guys, we are silly. We're so silly. We hope that this has inspired you to cut out the crap in your diet, guys. Cut it out. It is really hurting your mind, it's hurting your body, it's hurting your soul. Cut that out. And when you do, you're going to experience freedom like you have never experienced before. Now, here's the caveat. I understand that telling you to do that, asking you to do that, begging you to do that is one thing. But if you struggle with food addiction, and if you're completely tied to these foods, we understand that. And there is a scientific way, and there is a process of getting you free from food addiction, sugar addiction, carbohydrate addiction. And so if that is you, we have a 12-month program. We have an 18-month program in our food addiction treatment center. You may be an emotional eater, and you may be like, gosh, I don't feel like I'm addicted to food chemically, but I'm addicted emotionally. We have a signature program. Both Coach Darcy and I have a signature 3-month program where we can get you to lose the weight. We can get about 40 pounds off during that time. And we can get you on the road. By the way, Carnivore ends tomorrow. Wow. These
Does
folks.
it really?
There was a couple more weight check-ins yesterday, Darcy, but I think we've got to capture those. In our staff meeting today, we got to capture those numbers. We are nearing 500 pounds lost during that 30-day carnivore.
And you know what my favorite part was?
What?
That they proved us wrong.
They proved. I don't like to say that I'm wrong. A lot of times, I don't like to say that I'm wrong because I spout out these statistics. What was it? 35% of you will quit this program before the end.
Yes.
They made me lie.
They did.
They blew me away because there is still 42 turned in their weight. Average weight was 15 to 20 pounds.
Yeah.
42 of them turned in their weight, and we had 64 enrolled. That blew away that 35%.
They
really crushed it. The carnivore group crushed it. Now they're in the process of deciding, okay, do I want to make this more ketovore? Do I want to make this? Do I want to continue 30 more days of carnivore? Tomorrow, the room will go dark, and we gave them a really, really great deal to continue with us for 30 days. They'll never see that price again. If you're listening and you are carnivore, we're not doing that again, and we're shutting it off. There will be a deadline. You can't come back.
We just loved the group so much.
The
boss made the decision.
I know. We need a better CEO of the company.
So everything's fine.
So you have till tomorrow to decide, actually, what you're going to do. But these guys knocked it out of the park. We're nearing 500 pounds that were lost.
And they're feeling fantastic.
They are. They really are.
Happy.
We're going to do it in the spring. So if you missed out on this one, we're going to do this twice a year. I've decided spring and fall. Now, the really cool thing is with these guys, if they renew with us for the 3 months, they'll have two coaches all the way through the holiday season. Yeah. So that's really, really cool. We lost 20 pounds from Thanksgiving to January, so you don't have to gain weight over the holidays.
Right.
So these guys have the opportunity to have coaches during the hardest part of the year. So pretty cool stuff.
There was a lot of them that were committing to more months. Like they aren't stopping. Like they didn't just stop at the 30 days. Now some of them they're done. They want to make it more ketovore.
Exactly. Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I'm there, but I'm not because I can't.
Well, and you're going to carry those carnivore people another 30 days, another 3 months. You're going to lead that effort because you are doing a science project with your
and unfortunately
psoriasis.
It's working.
Unfortunately, I hate to say it's working, and so those people are going to follow you out of this 30 days.
Yeah.
We're so stinking proud of them. They did amazing. So proud of them. But if you need help, please message us. I did drop the link to the beta food addiction support group in the chat. If you go to our website, kmhealthcoaching.org, you will find Coach Darcy over there. You will find a test to know if you are a food addict. You'll find that's on the homepage. You'll find my website over there. And I would recommend create an appointment, a free appointment that is a health assessment so that you can make sure you go into the right program. We don't want you in the wrong program. So yes.
Don't close out yet.
Okay.
I'm reminding you. Look at me reminding you. Because we talked about dopamine.
Yes.
And because we talked about we didn't talk about that, but we're going to talk about our full script.
Yes, full script.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Darcy.
Hey,
so FullScript. We are now approved providers for FullScript, and we are also able to order labs.
I was
We are
gonna say,
we have this
can you tell people what full script is? Because I think some
FullScript,
people
yeah.
don't know what it is.
FullScript is this massive collaboration of supplements of basically if you need it and it has to be prescribed by a physician or you have to get it through a physician's office, we're able to connect to those supplements. I'm gonna in the comments, I'm gonna drop a link to a sample of what we provide our clients, and this is the anti-anxiety sleep formula. And we just pulled it out of this. I just pulled this out of the marketplace that we have as an example.
Yeah.
So anxiety sleep, put that in there, and you can see this is what we tell our clients when you are feeling anxious, when you're feeling like that dopamine is low. This is what we would give them as a protocol, and this is open to the public. So the really cool thing is that we haven't even tapped into is a lot of physicians and a lot of doctors will not order labs because insurance, if there's not a medication for it, they don't want to know. They don't care about it. And so we are
Right.
now able, being supervised by a physician in a network, to give labs and
Yeah.
to order the labs. If you have a Quest, is it Quest?
Quest.
If you have a Quest farm
Quest
lab
Labs.
around you, you can get any lab you want.
Yeah.
And it's really, really cool. God has really blessed us in that. So,
I got my bill for my labs. I
oh,
was not happy about that.
I wonder what the comparison would be if you ordered your own
I know.
versus a doctor. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But I got some pretty intensive labs
Got some
done that
numbers.
not many
Yeah.
people do.
A
So,
lot of people, when they bring us their cholesterol numbers, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, my doctor wants to put me on statins," and we say, "Well, what is your lipid A, lipid B numbers?" And they don't know because the doctors don't
mhm.
order that. We can order that now,
That's so
which is
cool.
amazing,
Where was
amazing.
this, maybe 2 weeks ago?
I know, I know,
I
crazy,
would have been your
crazy.
first guinea pig
Yeah,
if I
yeah.
would
And we
have.
give our clients a discount on all of
Yeah.
that. We put a discount in there for our
Yep.
clients, for people who go through our lab.
Yep.
I'm pulling out. If you want access to our full script, I'm dropping the link right down in the comments below. That's the
Yeah.
access. And you can see all of the protocols we have created for our clients. That Coach Darcy has gone through every one of those to make sure they're clean. She was really grouchy
Well,
one
wait a
day.
minute.
One day.
I didn't pick yours. I
For
would
the
just
most
say,
part, yes,
if
yes.
somebody comes and says, "Hey, so because you are keto and carnivore, you should be on the healthier side and not need
Mhm,
to have all these
mhm.
things. You shouldn't have to have these replacements." Well, I would say, these are exactly what it says. They are supplements,
Yeah.
and most of our food sources that we even eat, even
Mhm.
keto or carnivore,
Yeah.
they're not providing the minerals and nutrients that our bodies
Right.
need.
Yeah.
So, unless you live on a farm and you are making sure your cows and chickens are eating all those good vitamins and minerals themselves,
Mhm.
then yes, you can say that.
Yeah.
But in the same breath, we supplement for a reason, because those food choices are not we're
Not
so
giving you what you
depleted.
need.
We are
Yeah.
so depleted. So that is why we paired up with Full Script,
Mhm.
and we suggest certain supplements and vitamins,
Yeah.
and getting these labs done so that you know what is
Yeah.
best for you.
Yeah. We
Not
even have a keto starter kit in there.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of people are like,
So,
"Well, where do I start? What supplements do I need?" We don't sell anything,
mm-mm,
but we
no.
did put together a resource for those, who are like, "Where do I start?"
Yeah.
So,
I think I know I'm just extending our time together because I'm coming up with all these thoughts. But it just reminds me of, mom and how she was a Shackley provider for
uh-huh.
our growing up, and we
Yep.
had everything Shackley. And just, I love the fact that mom instilled having vitamins and
Mhm.
supplements in our world, handfuls, buckets, or whatever,
Mhm.
what have you. We were pretty healthy for the most part, aside from our sugar
Mhm.
cereal that we would eat and other garbage. Um, but I want that for my kids.
Mhm.
So, just don't be afraid of the supplements, but the supplements will best will be used the best when you live a healthier lifestyle.
That's right. That's right. They go hand in hand for
They
sure.
They do.
Hey guys, we will see you next Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please go out and vote. This is our last push for voting. It is our duty. It is not only a privilege, but it's our duty. Go out, find a polling place. If you go on election day, prepare to wait 4 hours. So
bring a chair.
If you either bring a chair, because I got those people who say, oh, I'm an election day person. Well, this year is different. You're going to stand in the line 4 hours.
Yes.
So if you don't want to do that, go vote early, go get it out of the way, walk out with your head held high and sing
Still
God Bless America. Bring a chair. Absolutely. Yes. We love you guys. We love this country. We love freedom, and God bless America.
Yeah.
We'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye.
Monica here. Guess what? If you're fed up with feeling stuck in your battle with weight or food, I've got something just for you. Check out our free Facebook groups. Over at Food Addiction and Recovery, I'm over there waiting for you. We're going to walk this journey together. It's about getting real, sharing our stories, and lifting each other up. We're in this together every step of the way. And if you're curious about changing your life with keto, the Weight Loss Project is where you want to be. Coach Darcy is amazing. And together, we're not just talking about losing weight. We're talking about finding a happier, healthier you. So, what do you say? Are you ready to join us? The links are in the show notes below, and I'm telling you, this is more than an invite. It is the start